Today we're going to compare wood-fired pizza to oven-baked pizza. Which is better? All right, so I just finished prepping my oven pizza. As you know, today we're doing two pizzas. That's two pizzas, one in the pizza oven, outside, wood-fired, one in the oven here in my kitchen. Both margarita pizzas, so you'll see I got mine prepped. I'm gonna throw it in the oven right now. I had the pizza steel preheating for 2 hours at 525 Fahrenheit. What I'm gonna do with this is 3 minutes on parchment paper. After 3 minutes, I'm gonna lift the pizza up, slide the parchment paper out, 7 more minutes, perfect cook every time. Here we go. Timer, 3 minutes. And don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share it with all your friends. All right, so just lift the corner here, grab the parchment, and give it a pull. Okay, so I got a margarita pizza here. Very basic, but my favorite pizza. It's on parchment paper. I'm gonna slide it in here. It's definitely something when you cook at open fire, it's a labor of love. It took me roughly, we'll say 90 minutes to 2 hours to get this down to coals. The temperature is sitting around 500 degrees Fahrenheit or just over, and probably about 260 degrees Celsius. You gotta kind of pick your timing of when you're gonna pull that parchment out. So you just gotta kind of keep an eye out. You wanna make sure that the bottom starts to get cooked before you reach in with that pizza peel. So what's key with this is obviously, as you can see here, you're cooking on stone. So you wanna make sure that your stones are hot enough that cooks the bottom of your pizza so that it's not still doughy and sticky. The parchment paper adds a little barrier between the dough and the stone to allow that to cook. So with experience, you kind of learn how much time it takes just by looking at it or how much time it's been in there, when is a good time to pull that parchment paper. So I can carefully just reach in and just sort of turn it a bit so that one side doesn't get too hot. But this is kind of a slower process and we want to make sure that we don't mess it up, because it's happened to me once before when I reached in with my pizza peel too early and I cut the bottom of that pizza and it was a total disaster. So I don't want that to happen here today. So you can see the dough is already starting to rise. I should say this is a 2-day fermented crust. Sitting in the fridge 2 days gives that real light, fluffy, desirable pizza crust. Moment of truth. Big pizza peel, obviously there's some size to it here because this is pretty hot. So I'm just gonna reach in and slowly pull that out and give that pizza a turn. So you'll see here on our pizza that the one side was cooked a little bit stronger than the other. Again, cooking open fire, a lot more challenging. The pizza oven is shaped specifically for a reason. It wants to sort of traject that heat over top, but you still need to continuously move your pizza to make sure that you get all sides cooked properly. Margarita pizza, basil, fresh basil, bocconcini or mozzarella, fresh pizza sauce homemade in this case here. Definitely want to give this a chance to let it rest, cool down a little bit, because it's like molten lava right now. Okay, so Jamie and I now are actually gonna do kind of a quasi review here of the two pizzas. The oven baked versus the wood fired. Is it worth it overall? So Jamie, I believe the pizza on your left is oven baked.
Correct.
So first category is gonna be basically the overall look. So Jamie, the overall look, how does it look to you?
Looks good to me. Cheese is well melted. The crust, although we'll get to the crunchiness later, looks great. I mean, it rose perfectly. If I look at the bottom there,
There's a little bit of leoparding, but not as much as you'd find usually in a wood-fired pizza. So,
it looks great.
yeah, let's have a bite.
Now what about the look of the wood-fired pizza?
Well, I definitely find the wood-fired pizza has a bit of a darker edge, which is nice. If I look at the bottom, you can definitely, I don't know if I can be able to show that here. You can definitely see there's some leoparding there.
Good char.
Good char, good sturdiness to it.
I think if I had to define the difference between them is that the wood-fired pizza looks more rustic.
Okay.
Less consistent on the edges. You know, big part here, small part here, which is fine.
Yep.
Looks rustic, looks more homemade,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Okay. Well, let's bite into it. Tastes good.
Tastes great.
So I could definitely taste the char. You could taste the wood fire. Is it worth it?
Well, I'm gonna finish chewing first. They both taste great. Obviously the flavor is similar, they're the same pizza. Like you said, you can taste the char. A little more crunch on the wood-fired pizza, I find. In this case, than the oven pizza, but the oven pizza still has the crunch, if you're into that kind of thing.
So I would define it as I mentioned before, wood-fired pizza is challenging. It's very rewarding, but it's a labor of love.
Title of today's message is The Labor of Love.
You got to put your time in, you got to get your fire right, and you really have to pay attention. The stove is easy. Once you figure out the technique that you like, you set it, you forget it. It comes out pretty consistent every single time. But like I said, the actual challenge of wood fire to me is worth it. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I have a wood-fired pizza.
To me, as a lazier cook than Mark, I would say it's not worth it. I like the idea of sitting on my couch and having the oven ding and having a great pie.
Maybe watching an Average Kitchen video?
Yeah, sitting on the couch, watching Average Kitchen videos, waiting for my pie to be done. But if you're, like Mark said, if you're into that kind of thing, if you have people over, it's a whole experience. Maybe sitting out by the wood fire, making the pie, I think that'd be great too with a couple of beers.
Well, there you have it, wood-fired versus oven-baked. Let us know what you would prefer to have or what you would actually prefer to cook if you had the capabilities of having wood-fired pizza. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in to The Average Kitchen.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. This is the kind of make or break part, is making sure your bottom's cooked enough before you start pulling your paper off of it. Because if not, if your stones aren't hot enough, and maybe I could talk about that.